Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Everything I found was tragic. Kevin Costner reveals shocking stories he uncovered for docuseries The West. Kevin Costner just opened up about the tragic stories he discovered for his new docuseries, Kevin Costner's The West. Kevin is one of the most accomplished actors in the entertainment industry. He has starred in such iconic films as Field of Dreams, The Bodyguard, and Dances with Wolves. In recent years, Kevin's become more known for starring in the hugely successful TV show Yellowstone. Now he's got a brand new docuseries called Kevin Costner's The West, which recounts real tales from the American West. While speaking with Fox News Digital, Kevin couldn't believe the heartbreaking stories he learned about while making Kevin Costner's The West. "Almost everything I found was tragic. Isn't that weird?" he said. "Every story. There weren't a lot of happy endings, although there were people that made it on the backs of these kinds of people we're zeroing in on." During the interview, Kevin brought up one particular figure to prove his case. He found John Coulter to be especially interesting because while the guys that came along, artists came, scientists came, it was an expedition. However, when it came to John, he would hunt for meat and use sign language. The actor described John as a mountain man and explained that he had no business wanting to go back to Washington. John became hugely responsible for some of the greatest, wildest stories ever. United States history is filled with tragic and heartbreaking events from well before the country's founding, catastrophes and horrors caused by humans and by nature. Kevin clearly feels the need to show viewers a raw and unfiltered look at how the past helped to form the country as it is today, and he's not wrong for doing so. After all, to paraphrase the famous quote, people need to learn from history or they are doomed to repeat it. The harsh conditions and experiences that people like John Coulter faced are truly eye-opening. These stories from the past need to be told, and Kevin wants to ensure that as many people as possible learn about the tragedies that he discovered while making Kevin Costner's The West. This docuseries encapsulates the type of show the History Channel was meant to produce. The West will air across 8 episodes, with Kevin as the narrator. The actor is also an executive producer alongside historian Doris Kearns Goodwin. Doris' involvement is especially important considering all the history books and projects she's worked on over the years, and she lends a certain gravitas to the docuseries. Having a big name like Kevin Costner attached to The West is a great way to expose this docuseries to a lot of viewers. After starring on Yellowstone, Kevin has attracted a particular fan base that will love a show like The West. It may not be a scripted drama like Yellowstone, but the stories are just as captivating and are even more important because they are real-life events from U.S. history. Kevin Costner is no stranger to the frontier. With roles in Dances with Wolves, Wyatt Earp, and most recently as the stoic patriarch John Dutton in Yellowstone, he has long walked the dusty roads of American myth. But his latest project, a passion-fueled docuseries titled The West, may be his most haunting yet. In a recent press tour, Costner dropped a chilling phrase, "Everything I found was tragic." And the stories he uncovered are, indeed, harrowing reminders of a past many would rather forget. Costner's new series is not another glamorized retelling of cowboys and cattle drives. Instead, The West digs beneath the myths and exposes the brutal, often horrifying truths about American expansion in the 19th century. From massacres and betrayals to forgotten heroes and systemic injustices, Costner's exploration reveals a landscape soaked in ambition, greed, and grief. "I grew up idolizing the West," Costner said during a panel discussion. "The hats, the horses, the freedom. But as I started digging into the real history for this project, I kept encountering these painful stories. Entire communities wiped out, cultures decimated. Every trail led to tragedy." One such story is featured in Episode 2, where Costner recounts the Sand Creek Massacre of 1864. What began as a U.S. military campaign to suppress so-called native threats ended in the slaughter of over 230 Cheyenne and Arapaho people, mostly women, children, and the elderly. "We found military letters," Costner shared, "that showed the Army knew these people posed no danger. They had already surrendered. It was pure butchery, and no one talks about it." In another chilling episode, the docuseries unveils the dark underbelly of the railroad expansion. While the Union Pacific and Central Pacific Railroads are often celebrated for uniting the East and West Coasts, Costner's team examined the human cost behind the steel. Thousands of Chinese immigrants who built the Transcontinental Railroad lived in dangerous, inhumane conditions and died by the hundreds. Many were buried in unmarked graves. "We found abandoned tunnels in the Sierra Nevada," Costner said, "where workers were entombed by avalanches and never recovered. They were considered disposable." Costner was particularly shaken by the story of Biddy Mason, a formerly enslaved Black woman who won her freedom in California and became a real estate mogul and philanthropist in Los Angeles. "Her story is incredible, triumphant even," he noted. "But what makes it tragic is how many women like her we never hear about, people who were erased from the record because they didn't fit the narrative. And then there's the tale of the lost children of the plains." Costner devotes a full episode to the indigenous boarding school system that aimed to kill the Indian, save the man. Children were torn from their families, stripped of their languages and identities, and subjected to horrific abuse. The stories from survivors, some of them in their 80s now, are unbearable, Costner revealed. It's a national wound that still hasn't healed. For Costner, the West is more than a historical series. It's a reckoning. "We can't just romanticize the frontier anymore," he insisted. "That doesn't honor the people who suffered. We need to tell it all, the courage, the cruelty, the contradictions." The series is structured like a journey, both geographical and emotional. Each episode follows a thematic trail: land, blood, greed, resistance, with narration from Costner himself. His voice, rich with age and gravitas, guides viewers through the desert of denial into the often painful oasis of truth. Behind the camera, Costner partnered with historians, tribal elders, and descendants of pioneers and outlaws alike. "I didn't want this to be just my version of history," he said. "We brought in voices that had never been heard before, and when they spoke, it changed everything." The docuseries also makes use of dramatic recreations, but with a twist. Many roles are portrayed by descendants of real people from those stories. In one episode, a native actor portrays his own great-great-grandfather, who survived the Wounded Knee Massacre. "He wept after filming that scene," Costner recalled. He said, "Now my grandfather can rest. That's when I knew we were doing something right." Of course, some viewers may find the West uncomfortable. It challenges foundational myths and forces a re-examination of American identity. But Costner welcomes the discomfort. "It should make you uneasy," he said. "History isn't supposed to be cozy. It's supposed to teach you something. And if we keep burying the past, we'll never stop repeating it." Despite the weight of the stories, Costner does find glimmers of hope. He highlights moments of resistance, resilience, and redemption. Stories like those of Bass Reeves, a former slave who became one of the first Black U.S. Marshals, and the women who defied norms to claim land and autonomy on the frontier. "These are the true Western heroes," he said. "Not just the gunslingers or gold rushers, but the ones who survived, who stood up, who built something lasting amid the chaos." When asked if the West changed him personally, Costner nodded. "I used to think I understood this country. Now I know I'm still learning. And I want others to learn too, to look closer, to listen harder, to ask why." In a time when history is often weaponized or whitewashed, the West offers something rare: truth, unvarnished and raw. And for Kevin Costner, it's the project he was meant to make. People ask why I keep coming back to the West, he said. It's because it's not over. We're still living in it. And maybe if we finally tell the real stories, we can write a better ending.